Hello guys, and welcome to this video on the F9 exam tips. With just a few days more remaining for the exam, the next few days are quite crucial, so you need to make sure that you practice maximum questions possible over the next few days. And in terms of what you practice should be a good ratio of MCQs across section A and B, and the longer form questions also. Preferably try to use as many past exam questions as possible. Now, just a few things to point out during these days of your preparation are I'll go through what the examiner has tested in the past few sittings, which is the December and the March exam setting. But before that, just a few things I want to talk about is section A of the exam is going to test your knowledge across the breadth of the syllabus. So it will test fringe topics, which normally does not get tested as a full large section C question, but you can expect a lot of MCQs on peripheral topics of the syllabus also. So make sure you're comfortable with those. Please do not ignore or skip any topic. Everything is equally important. We've already spoken about the importance of theory. More than 55 marks of this exam is going to be for the theoretical aspects, not the calculations. So please make sure you concentrate on the theoretical aspects, understand the concepts, be it MCQs or writing theoretical answers. Now, we know that the examiner has provided some guidance on what is more testable in section C, and he said that it's most probably going to be any syllabus topic except for valuations or risk management, which will generally get tested across MCQs. So it will definitely be a section B question, I think, valuations or risk management, and there will be questions in section A also. Now, with the topics remaining except for valuations and risk management, there is no guarantee that there will necessarily be an investment appraisal or NPV question. So please do not think that there will definitely be an NPV question, especially for computer-based exams, where the section C questions are mixed. There is no set section C question. Different students get different section C questions. So looking at what has been tested in the past, I'll just go through what the examiner did in December and in March. Starting with December, he did a section C question on weighted average cost of capital. He then asked you to talk about business risks and finance risk, the financial risk associated, how these change, and he also asked you to talk about a rights issue, how this impacts shareholders, how a company can take advantage of a rights issue, and so on. The other question in December 2017 in section C was an NPV question with standard inflation, tax allowable depreciation, all of those complications. Then he also asked you to do capital rationing, calculations and discussion. So deciding how to allocate capital for divisible projects, and also to talk about the difference between hard and soft rationing, capital rationing, why they arise, how a company could deal with them, and so on. He also asked about how risk can be assessed in the investment appraisal process. More of a discussion element. What he did in section C in March 2017 was he asked you to calculate within working capital a working capital cycle, the cash operating cycle, which is nothing but the inventory days plus the receivable days minus the payable days. He also asked you to had asked students to calculate a forecast of an overdraft. Now, please keep in mind, an overdraft is not just affected by cash, it gets affected by the other components of working capital also, all current assets and current liabilities. He also had asked for an opening current ratio calculation and a closing current ratio calculation. So looking at the changes in working capital through the year and then doing current assets divided by current liabilities at the end of the year, which in his examiner's report, he said many students struggled with. So people were able to do a simple current ratio at the start of the year, but were not able to accurately forecast the changes in working capital and do a closing current ratio. So these are things that you should think of when you practice questions. He had also done a discussion element in that question on how a company can manage how it can recover its money quicker, and so on, which is just a discussion on maybe how you can provide an early settlement discount or how you can go for factoring and things like that. The other question in December 2017, March 2017 was to do an NPV again, to do a net present value calculation, and to also do a sensitivity analysis calculation after that. So again, assessing risk management, a calculation element, and then he also asked you to discuss about risk management. And techniques to deal with risk management, basically sensitivity analysis, probability analysis. You could talk about maybe risk adjusted WACC there, how you deal with risk in the investment appraisal process when you're going into a new industry. You could also talk about discounted payback, simulation, any of those techniques. Now, his feedback from what he tested in the past sittings on what students did well and could have done better were, now one thing that he's pointed out is, after doing an NPV calculation, we often say that the easiest mark available is for the comment to say whether a project is acceptable or not. Now he says many students just say accept, good project, and leave it at that. He says that's not enough. What you need to say is, if you're accepting a project, why you are accepting the project? Because it adds to shareholder wealth and hence it is financially viable. These are the type of comments that he's looking for to add value, then you get the mark. So please make sure that you put in a sensible comment which makes financial sense and adds value. That's the criteria that the marker is looking for to award you the mark. A few more things that he has pointed out is, he says workings are not often properly shown. So he says calculations may be done, but students sometimes do calculations on the calculator, or maybe using their own method, but do not exhibit, do not show the method. See, there are very few marks available for the final answer. Most of the marks are available for the method to get to the final answer, the workings, the steps that you show. So please make sure that you present them clearly and show all workings to at least get method marks, even if your final answer is not correct. That's a very important technique that you must, exam technique that you must exhibit, must show within section C of the exam. A few more things that he's pointed out is, he says students are often struggling with the tax allowable depreciation calculation. He says especially when it's in arrears or confusing the straight line basis with the reducing balance basis and so on. So please make sure you're careful about that, and also make sure that you know how to do the balancing allowance in the last year. Remember the net book value of the asset minus the scrap value at the last year. That needs to be done accurately. A few more things is, he says students are struggling with using the correct discount rate, sometimes mixing up the real discount rate with the nominal discount rate. Remember, the nominal discount rate is to be used when there are multiple rates of inflation and cash flows have been inflated. So please make sure you use the appropriate weighted average cost of capital for discounting. Yeah, that's about it. Those are the major things that he's put in as feedback from the past few sittings in the exam. So please make sure you keep all of these things in mind, and as I've already told you, please make sure that you practice sufficient questions. Go through all the questions which we did during the revision classes. Please make sure you go through the online quizzes again. They have many past exam questions in them. Please also make sure you watch the videos on the topics of treasury management, sources of finance, the things that he loves to test within MCQs, within section A. So please make sure you're comfortable with those. And when you practice all of these questions, please make sure you don't just tick one answer and move to the next question. Please understand why that's the correct answer. And also with theory questions, please make sure you understand why the other three options are wrong. Yeah, so please learn from these questions. It's not just about whether you get it right or wrong. If you get it wrong, that's okay, but make sure you don't repeat that mistake again by learning from those questions. Yeah, so please make sure you fully utilize these next upcoming days, and wish you all the best for the exam. Thank you.